Chris Hipkins this time last week was talking about taxing more and borrowing more. And I said to him, you cannot be serious.
I just think it's quite outrageous. I mean, literally, that government crashed the car. They put the car in the ditch, New Zealand's economy, right? They literally put it in the ditch. And they did that by actually spending more, borrowing more, taxing more. They increased spending by 84%, drove up inflation, drove up interest rates, put the economy into recession. It was abysmal economic management.
Yes.
And then you put the car in the ditch. We're trying to get the car out of the ditch and get into first and second gear, and then ultimately into third and fourth and into top gear. And now he wants the keys back to go put it back into the ditch again by doing exactly the same thing. More, he said he wants to borrow more. He said he wants to tax more. And then I'm telling you, this conversation about a capital gains tax or a wealth tax or a capital income tax, they've got this tension within the Labour Party where David Parker's banging on about a capital income tax or wealth tax. Chris Hipkins now seems to want a capital gains tax, which he just ruled out, less than 10 months ago. And again, they're back at the well of where they've been in 2011 and 2014. We don't need to tax our way out of a recession. We need to grow our way out of a recession. And that's why I keep saying it's about education, infrastructure, technology, red tape, international connection. We are in the mess we're in because, these guys ran up from $5 to $100 billion worth of debt. I now have an interest bill of $8 billion to maybe going to $10 or $11 billion on the debt. That means it's $8 to $10 billion I can't spend on hospitals or schools or other infrastructure, and we have got nothing to show for it. So I know I'm not meaning to be, because I'm trying to fix the problem and I've got to focus on the future, but I get very frustrated when these are the clowns, frankly, over the last 6 years that were economic vandals that put the car in the ditch and now they want the keys back, and it ain't going to happen. What I want people to understand is that when you go out and say we're going to ban oil and gas, which sounds like a very lovely idea, it has second and third order implications that no one thought about. And the upshot is that when we have a dry year like we're having, the driest we've had since 1992, lakes are low, not enough sun, wind's not blowing, our renewables don't fire as well as they do, and we need gas, and we're going to need gas for some time. The perverse thing is you end the oil and gas ban, now we've stopped producing domestic gas, and now we're importing huge quantities of coal. So it's worse for global greenhouse gas emissions. We shouldn't be importing any coal because this country has abundant natural resources. But what happened was when you ban the oil and gas exploration, no one's been exploring for the last few years, and as a result, no, we don't. We've got LNG here in New Zealand. But why would you invest in New Zealand? You've got 195 countries to invest in. You're these big companies that come in, they explore, they then get the gas out of the thing, put it into our pipelines, send it around our country. But why would you bother when they've said they're going to kill oil and gas? Also going to need gas for some time, and that's why we've got to look at importing LNG and also getting domestic gas production up, because when you don't do that, you end up importing huge amounts of coal. I think Genesis has burnt 280% more coal than it did last year. Well, that's not good for emissions or the climate or anything. So that's why I say, if you're an environmentalist, get on board Green Party, Labour Party, actually support the legislation we're putting through the House on fast tracks and on ending the oil and gas ban. So we're going to need gas for a period of time. Megan Woods had this crazy idea called Lake Onslow. They want to spend, I think, something like $16 billion. It would probably be $30 billion by the time it finished. And that, as a result, meant that all the electricity companies sit on the sidelines not wanting to invest their own money, and we have to spend taxpayers' money because that was the plan, and it wasn't going to be available to 2040 or something ridiculous or beyond. So all of those things have been sorted. We've said killed Lake Onslow. We've sorted out Tiwai. And as a result, we're saying to the electricity companies who, in theory, when I talk to them, want to spend $20 to $25 billion of their own money, not taxpayers' money, actually building out renewable energy projects. But it's been ridiculous. It takes you 8 years to get a consent for a wind farm that actually powers 130,000 homes and 2 years to build it. And what we're saying under fast-track provisions, one-stop shop stuff, that you can get that done in 1 year as a consent, and then you go build it, and then we get the benefit of it much quicker.